There is no other like mother, so treat her right.
Breaking out the Mr. T.
I'll always love her, my mother, so treat her right, treat her right.
Treat her right. Treat
You know
her
Mom loves tea and fat gold chains.
Treat her right. Treat her right.
My mother.
All right, I can't watch anymore. We had all of our moms call in and tell a story about us. Actually, one of these moms is a stand-in mom. If you can guess which one of these three mothers is my mom based on the story that they tell. Let's go to Mom 1 right now.
When you were a child, you guys got together with your friends, and you had, I didn't like body piercing and had asked you not to do it, and you went to Boise and came back with the eyebrow piercing. And what was kind of the funny thing about the whole thing was a year later, your nephew had bumped a piercing spot, and it bled and bled and bled. And you took the piercing out and never did put it back in. I was upset because I think your body is sacred, and I had asked you not to and had given you reasons, and you decided to do it anyway.
One of our moms sounds like she's still disappointed in one of us for getting a piercing when we were a little against her wishes.
Very rebellious.
Very rebellious, a person in this room. Mom number 2.
So when you were a kid, you had me buy you special plates because you didn't want your food to touch. Because if it did, I had to literally get you a whole new plate and get you new utensils because even your utensils had to be new. There was one time where the applesauce touched the green beans, and you literally freaked out and started screaming and freaked out and just would not touch it and came to me crying with your plate in your hand and just wouldn't stop crying because they touched each other. I had to literally get you a new plate of food. We had to just serve you on little individual plates itself.
Someone sounds very OCD.
Mom 2, yes, explaining one of us in this room, a difficult and anal child when it came to their food.
Interesting.
Very interesting. And Mom number 3.
You loved your baby bottle and didn't want to give it up, even when you were in nursery school. You insisted on coming home and having one bottle a day after school. And I felt you were long past the time when you should have been needing to drink from a bottle. So one day, I put the cap on very loosely. You tipped the bottle up to drink from it, and the liquid spilled all over you, and that was the last baby bottle you ever had. But another thing, you were a very observant little child, and when you were about a year and a half old and got your first pumpkin, this was at Halloween time, of course, you made a comment to us and said, you know, a pumpkin doesn't got no tush. And we had to admit that that was true.
Okay.
A little obsessed about butts.
Tushies.
Yeah, incorrect. Well, I guess correct about pumpkin anatomy. Although if I were that child, I would say today that pumpkins are all ass.
Are you
And I
saying
think-
because of the creases, it's all ass? So it's just like lots of asses?
I think the pumpkin is all butt. Now,
It looks like a face to me, but I guess you could say, well, because there's so many creases, it's just like butts upon butts upon butts.
once it is carved, it is all head, but prior to that, it is all ass. And James is on the phone. Hello, James. Hi.
How's it going?
Hey, James. All right, so which one of those? Is it Mom 1, 2, or 3 is my mom, and why?
All right, I'm going to say number 3.
And why would you say number 3?
You went really into detail about pumpkin asses.
I shouldn't have said anything about that. What is your name, man?
Steven.
Steven, you are correct.
All right, nice.
I was the one who did not want to. I did a lot of things a little bit early. I walked early, I read stuff early, but I was potty trained very late, just a couple of years ago, and I guess I didn't want to break with my bottle until very late as well.
Oh, it's all good, man.
Yeah, so you're correct, and you are now qualified for the Bottle Rock Festival. So who did you think was Michelle's mom?
I'm going to say number 1.
You think that I got an eyebrow piercing to piss off my mom?
I think so.
A little bit rebellious. I do graffiti a ton, and that pisses off my mom, but I did not get an eyebrow piercing.
That was Dusty's mom. Is that part of the thing? Mormons do not
Definitely.
generally get body piercings and that kind of thing?
The body is a temple. I think you could hear my mom say that a little bit. She was kind of reading straight from the scriptures there for a second. Yeah. The body is the temple, so no tattoos, no piercings. You're not supposed to modify your body.
All right, well, so it sounded like you had an eyebrow piercing for a year.
Or so, yeah.
Yeah, and every time she looked at it, she'd just shake her head.
Oh, dude, she cried sometimes. She would cry about it. It really hurt her feelings. At the time I felt bad, but I was an angsty teenager, so I didn't really care that much.
My mom was actually the middle one, and it was not my mom. My mom was afraid to get on the radio. It was actually my sister, and I am obsessive compulsive about many things. It's a problem. It's a
mom.
disorder.
But what a story. So you wouldn't let, if your applesauce ran over into your green beans what age, where were you in your life?
I was little, and so all of my food had to be in separate containers with separate utensils, and if it touched, I think my sister was exaggerating a little bit. I don't think I cried, but I just wouldn't eat it. I just wouldn't eat the food.
No, you're being a little bit vague about the time period here. Are we talking about until you were 15 years old that you wanted your food separated from other foods?
Yeah. And so, like, in my lunchbox, for example, when I would go to school, my mom would never make me a sandwich. She would have the bread separate from the meat, separate from the cheese, separate from the lettuce, and I would eat them all separately.
Wow.
I know.
All right, knowing your incredibly stupid food rules from today, where you just do pizzas on Tuesdays, whatever.
It's a disorder.
How do you figure pizza, which has many toppings on it? How do you figure that? That was a singular food as a child?
When I was little, I used to eat the cheese off of it it would have to be plain cheese. I would eat the cheese first, and then and I would eat the bread, and it had sauce on it, and I was okay with that.
Steven, do you have any siblings?
Sounds like my son.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He'll get over it. I mean, I got over it, sort of.
All right,
you
Steven.
just kind of deal with it because people make fun of you.
Steven, so you have a son. So what are you doing with your wife for Mother's Day?
Her birthday is actually Saturday, so we've got babysitters lined up, and we're going to go hit Salt Lake up this weekend. Nice. It'll be the first time we've got out.
Is she bummed that her birthday falls so close to Mother's Day because she just gets that combined day?
No, because I'm just going to hook her up fat.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
Steven, hang on now. Thanks so much for playing, dude.
All right, boss.
All right, very good.